Hey guys, what's up? Seth here. So I wanted to make this video just to show you what these auctions look like when they're live. And as you can see here, I actually bid on several of these things a few days before any of these auctions started. And these are the two in question right up here at the top. These are the ones that we're looking at right here. And pretty early on, like almost immediately after this auction started, I was outbid on both of these properties. I just put in the minimum bid amount, as you can see right here, which was pretty low on both of these. Like the actual value was far in excess of these. So it didn't take long for me to get outbid. And one of these two I think really wasn't worth going much higher on, and that is this one right here. If we click on this, and this property is 3.2 acres. The assessed value is $7,200, which means the total market value in Michigan, the way this is calculated, is $14,400. Again, according to the county, they don't always know what they're talking about, but with no other information, it's worth something, just to use that as a basis. And the current high bid on this one is $6,200, which is almost as much as the current assessed value. Usually when I'm buying vacant land, I don't want to go any higher than about 30% of what that thing is actually worth, of that 14,400 number. So it's already too high for me. I'm not going to pursue that one any further. However, this other one right here, if we take this parcel and plug it into data tree, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. And this one's actually in a different county. This particular auction is actually handling two counties at the same time. So this one right here is a much nicer property. This one is about 6 acres in size, and part of it is in a flood zone, as you can see here on data tree, but more than half of it is not. And it's actually not a bad thing because it's going right next to a creek, which, as long as the whole property isn't in a flood zone, it's actually a nice little feature to have. And it's got really nice road access on two sides, a lot of road frontage. And you can see the pictures from the auction website right here. It's a pretty nice property. Dirt road right there, lots of room to do all kinds of stuff. This is a residential property. You can see a few notes that they've got here. And again, on this one, I was pretty quickly outbid from my original $2,800 bid. I just checked in here recently and saw that somebody else had bid this thing up to, I think it was $6,300. And so I came in and I outbid them at $7,000, and it looks like they have already outbid me again. So now the current high bid is $7,100. And this kind of works similar to eBay in that, say if I was to go in here and put in $10,000, that doesn't mean the current high bid is going to be $10,000. It just means that the current high bid is going to be $100 over whatever the next highest bidder was going to put in there. So for example, I'm going to go in here and put in another bid at $8,000 for this one, and we'll see how that affects this. So you can see the current high bid is not $8,000 like I just put in there. It's just $100 higher than the previous bidder. And chances are they're going to go in there and probably increase the bid again and again and again. And by the way, the reason I'm willing to go so much higher on this particular property is because it's twice as big as the other one. And the assessed value for this one is quite a bit higher. If we open up this property detail report, you can see the assessed value is $21,300, which means the market value is like $42,600. And is that accurate? It's hard to know with land, as always, but when I do go into Zillow, this particular one is around the Lake Odessa area in Michigan. And when I search for other properties in the area that are just vacant lots and the size is between 5 to 10 acres, these are all the comparables I'm getting, and all of them are way, way, way higher than these bid amounts I'm putting in there. So at $8,000, it's still like a really, really good value. And granted, for these particular properties, like it's hard to know if these are reasonable asking prices as well. But just looking at most of these things, they seem to be pretty similar in terms of what these properties have to offer, in that like they're flat farmland type areas. These properties don't have water running right beside them, but they're also probably not in a flood zone either, just based on the little information I'm seeing here. I'm probably willing to go a little bit higher than this. I'm not sure if this other person is going to keep doing this bidding war thing with me, but I just know in my head, I'm probably fine going up to maybe $9,000 or $10,000 pretty easily. Anything further beyond that, and I'll probably start to get a little bit more apprehensive, because I also have to remember that I'm only going to be getting a quitclaim deed from this, so I'll probably have to take this through a quiet title action at some point. So even then, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some nice money to be made on this one. But I don't want to go too nuts, and I don't want to let my emotions get away from me. So I've kind of got a maximum number in the back of my head, and hopefully it won't exceed that. But if it does, I'm just going to let this one go, because the fact of the matter is, because if nothing works out from this particular auction, I've still got a lot of others on the table that are coming up in the next few days here. And this isn't even all the ones that I'm planning to bid on. So I definitely don't have to feel like this is my final chance to get a great deal at a tax auction, because it's not. So anyway, just wanted to show you, this is sort of what it looks like in the live scenario where you can see these new prices coming in real time. I don't have to reload or refresh this page. It just shows up if that number changes. It's pretty cool and pretty easy and convenient just to see what's going on and to know where you stand in this bidding process. So that's all for now. I'm going to push pause on this video, and however this particular one pans out, I will pick it up in just a second and I'll show you where it goes. All right, guys, so here we are at the end of the day. The auction has concluded and the results are in. And as we can see, this property sold for way more than the original minimum bid amount. And quite a bit more than my own personal maximum bid amount. And if we just take a look at how many people actually viewed this listing, 1,843 views. I don't know how many of those views came from the same parties over and over again, or if those were all like unique views, but either way, that's a very, very different game than what I usually do, where I'm contacting a motivated seller directly, talking to the private owner. There's usually no other competition on the line. If there is, it's maybe like one or two other people max. So this is just a totally different thing with how much competition is inherently built into these kinds of tax auctions. And it makes it a bit harder to get properties for as cheap as I would like to get them for. And, you know, based on the property values we were seeing in Zillow, the listing prices of comparable properties, which weren't necessarily good comps, they were a bit bigger than this subject property, but it was the closest thing we could find. Just given those property values, and if you do the math and just adjust downwards based on the acreage, is this still a good deal? I mean, if I was the end user of this property, if I was going to use it myself, or if I knew how I could develop it in such a way to make it more valuable, then possibly. I think this could possibly be a good deal. It's just not the most amazing deal from a land flipper's perspective. Because again, like, I'm used to getting these things for 10 to 30% of market value. And this is just a little bit outside of that range, because the price to value ratio on this one is just a little bit out of my comfort zone. But actually, like, this is one of the better deals that I ended up seeing in this particular county on this particular auction. A lot of other ones were bid up like way closer to the full market value or even beyond that. So this isn't like a terrible deal. It's just not as good of a deal as what I would want to see and what I'm used to seeing with the normal way that I send out direct mail to motivated sellers and find them that way. And really what it comes down to is competition is what caused this to fall out of the realm of acceptability, in my opinion. But anyway, just wanted to follow up with this and show you where this one ended up going. Hopefully you got a good feel for how these things work in real time. When bids are actively happening and the price goes up and up and up, you kind of get a little bit of an adrenaline rush, honestly. It's kind of fun, but obviously not fun when the price gets so high that the deal doesn't make sense anymore. But that's a little bit of what the experience looks like at a live tax auction that's happening online. And actually, if you want to stick around for the next video in this series, I'm going to show you a little bit more about how I select which properties I decide to start bidding on, like how I figure out which ones probably have enough of a profit margin on them and how to find the ones that are the property type that I'm looking for, which is vacant land. There's some little tricks you can use to download the spreadsheet and kind of just figure out from a high level without spending a ton of time which ones probably make the most sense based on what you're looking for. So I would invite you to check out that video if you want to learn more about that, and I'll see you there.